Is your company hiring IT staff from North Korea? Before you answer that question, you might want to watch this next video.
Welcome to Tech Topics brought to you by Cybervenger. We help keep small businesses stay protected and compliant with cutting-edge cybersecurity and IT solutions.
Actually, I got this story tipped off actually from watching the Coin Bureau, so shout out to that YouTube channel. And I've since seen it in a number of different sources. I checked it out. Apparently, people are hiring North Korean employees unbeknownst to them. There's kind of been a bane of hiring managers of late. Remote workers have become a big deal in our workforce, and you can oftentimes get really good talent for a fairly good price if you go overseas. And there's all kinds of ways to screen for that. But North Korea has set up quite an operation of trying to get their people to look like remote workers from other countries. And they've done a number of things to try and circumvent the controls being used. One of them is the use of generative AI, able to change the face, real-time, do job interviews over Zoom, using generative AI to impersonate existing people they might know, or create a entirely brand new face that doesn't look, like a Korean. To use translation apps and language apps to translate language on the fly, and a sophisticated network of different operatives able to give references for the new operative, and it becomes kind of a circular reference point. Oh, well, employee X that we hired is vouching for employee Y, while employee Y is vouching for employee Z. Something's fishy with employee X. Well, employee Y and Z are vouching for him, so maybe it's not so bad. That kind of thing. And there are ways around that. So the controls where, hey, look, I want to hire someone in the Netherlands, for example. I'll ship you your laptop, the only piece of equipment you can use to get into our network, to an address in the Philippines or Netherlands or whatever country you want to use, or whatever location you're expecting to be in. And then that laptop gets shipped there, and a third party who has been hired to intercept the laptop, sometimes knowingly, sometimes unknowingly, will then take that laptop and ship it to where it's actually going to be used. And then the operative will get that laptop fired up on their network, use a VPN to disguise its location. You don't necessarily need a VPN software to be on the laptop itself. The laptop could be using a gateway that has the VPN to make it look like it's coming from any network you want. Combine that with generative AI, and now you have a remote employee that could be coming from, as far as the company knows, any country in the world, but that's really North Korean. Now, from the article that Coin Bureau was talking about, and from some of the ones I've seen, the greatest threat from this is funding. And I had to laugh when they cited statistics. These operatives are bringing in money, and the Korean government is taking 30 or 40%. And they made it sound like, oh, these poor guys are just being used for their talent, and, the government's getting all the money. And then realized, hey, America does that. My government gets 30 or 40% of my salary, too. Funny how that works. Anyway, but they are getting some reward for their time and efforts, and it's more money than most people in North Korea have. It's a very impoverished country. They don't have a lot of money there. So if you can give them a tiny fraction of an IT company or an IT salary, that's good money. And what a lot of these companies or a lot of these folks will do is they will get multiple positions at multiple companies, and they'll juggle their workload as best they can. And sometimes they'll hire their friends to handle the workload for them. But they'll have a bunch of different companies, and you hear this time and time again in HR situations where people do that. Remote workers will have multiple jobs and try and play it off as well they can, maintain a decent amount of productivity for each customer, and because they're remote, it's a little easier to do that sort of thing. And then collecting 3 salaries and doing, a third of the work for each company. Well, North Korea is taking a page from that playbook and doing the same thing. The real danger, of course, is now you have operatives loyal to the North Korean government, which is a power well known to be hostile to the West in general. And now they have access that other people wouldn't. This brings us to remind us that insider threats in security always have been and remained the gravest threat that there is. You got to know who's working for you, what access they have, and all those principles we talk about over and over again about having the least privileged permissions necessary to do a job. rather than, oh, we trust this person, they can have access to that. No, 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 no. We don't care if we trust them. Even if they're a verified person, we're still only going to give them exactly what they need and nothing else. Because sometimes you're wrong and they're not who they think they are. Or sometimes you're wrong and you misjudge their character. It doesn't matter. You follow that principle of least privilege, and that's a good control that will work in this scenario to help reduce the damage. Now, you're still paying a notorious criminal government tax revenue that they otherwise wouldn't be getting to fund their weapons program and other nefarious activities, but, you know, at least they're not able to destroy your company if they can't access much, so that's why that principle is so important. But it's also difficult in today's day and age to deal with this sort of thing because of generative AI and because of how much remote work is going on. There's a lot of remote work in Fortune 500 companies, and people aren't being trained to watch for this. I mean, who would think that the person you're talking to on Zoom who looks like one nationality is really a North Korean, pretending to be that person. And, the language app is covering, the mouth is moving to match the, especially if you got kind of a grainy looking Zoom sort of thing, you can get away with a lot. And AI is still, to the human eye, somewhat readable. You can sometimes determine when it's fake. But that's getting harder and harder. And at some point in the near future, it's going to be virtually impossible to determine that a video is fake or real. Especially when someone's on the other end responding to real questions and the HR person's busy and they got other candidates to go through and they're more worried about making sure you really are qualified. They're not looking for spy operatives from another country. So this is kind of a problem that's growing. And I still find it kind of funny that I learned about it from the Coin Bureau, who was talking about that they were doing that with crypto projects, that North Koreans are working for some large crypto projects. But it applies everywhere. And hilariously enough, though, some of the sources that they were talking about was saying that when the FBI found that was what was going on and made him fire the person. Like, are you sure? But he was such a good employee. He was doing such a good job. So that's sometimes your best employees are really good because they're 5 North Korean operatives trying to sabotage your data. Who knew? Anyway, I just thought that was amusing. I thought it would be a nice video to put out to make people aware of this as they're trying to hire, to keep that in the back of their mind. And that's all I got for this week. We'll see you all in the next video.
Thanks for watching. We hope this video has provided valuable information to you. Be sure to share this video with other small business owners to spread the word about the importance of cybersecurity. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this. If you want more information about cybersecurity, visit us at www.cybervenger.com.